Coming up on this episode of Mind the Game.
Can I just take a moment to talk about Nikola Jokic making a joke out of the NBA every night? Let me ask you this, is he the best offensive player you've ever played against?
Wow, that's a tough question right there, Steve.
How do you feel about fitting back into this Lakers offense?
When you got a great point guard like Luka, who creates so many eyes around him, one of the best things I can do is, slash in from that 45 degree.
And what about Bronny?
I was just super proud of him, of the maturation process.
What can you tell me about JJ's culture?
He's gonna tell you exactly how he feels if you're not doing it right, but it's gonna be in a very stern but loving way.
Let's take a look at this Miami Heat offense.
Yeah.
Basically, they're creating a funnel. So the guy comes down, they're keeping the elbows wide open, and he's got the first opportunity to attack a defender who's retreating and help that's running back, and just to go one-on-one without a screen.
I got to see it firsthand of how fast that they're playing and the pick-and-roll list, style of basketball that they're playing. And it takes a while for you to kind of get adjusted to it.
Usually it's like a really good team tries something. It works because they're a really good team.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone else I remember back in the day, like late 90s, everyone trying the
triangle.
The triangle. And it's like, well, it's, they do have MJ, Pippen, Dennis, you know what I mean? This episode is presented by the all-new Alexa Plus. Your smart, proactive assistant now understands your style and anticipates what's next. Whether you need help finding a meaningful gift or planning a fun night out, you can enjoy a personalized experience based on your preferences. Say the word and Alexa delivers across Echo, Fire TV, and more. Learn more at amazon.com/new Alexa. How we doing?
Oh, we back.
We're back.
Yes, sir.
We got to talk about this for a minute. Like practicing with the South Bay Lakers, like I think that's so cool. And I don't know who I'm speaking to, but having coached, having played, like there are two-way guys and there are rookies or second-year guys that are like scared of playing in the G League because like I don't know, like the reputation or something. Like I think it's so cool that one of the very, 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 very best players ever played our game went to the South Bay Lakers to get workouts. Like, can you just talk a little bit about your feeling and approach about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of my build-up, and it's part of my love of the game. Like, literally, it could have been the South Bay Lakers, or it could have been, going to a recreation center and playing 5-on-5 versus guys. I just love to hoop, to finally be cleared to actually go out for live action. I've kind of been building up over the last few weeks, and to finally get the clearance this week to go and play some 5-on-5 action, I had the luxury to have the South Bay Lakers here in town, while our big guys are out on the road right now. So I was able to take advantage of it and, just be super humbled about it, just going there and going out there with those guys, going through the drills, offensive drills, defensive drills, shell drill, shooting drills, all type of things. So just like a regular practice with the South Bay guys. And like I said, I'm super appreciative and humbled to be able to go out there and them to, kind of change their practice a little bit to kind of fit me as well. So just super cool.
I think it's important to know, like a part of having a G League is for this very purpose.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not all about right? It's not all about like developing players. It's about having a place like baseball. Your guy gets hurt, he goes down to AAA to get some innings. You know what I mean? Get some at bats, get some pitches. So having that place for you to go is important. I respect it that you went down there and showed like, I don't have an ego about this at all. I just love to hoop. I want to get ready. I want to play. But I think there's a message here for everybody. Whether you're a two-way, you're a first-round pick, you're a player in the league. Like this is what it's there for. Like there shouldn't be any you shouldn't feel a way about going down to play on the G League team, practice with the G League team, get reps. Like I just think that's really important for young players to hear. Like it's about the game. And if you're putting ego or perception in the way of getting better, it's at a disservice to yourself.
No, absolutely. It's a complete disservice to yourself, and you got to realize, the season, when it comes to the NBA season, is so long and there's so many games and played throughout the course of the week and months and things of that nature. You're not going to be able to get the live reps that you will like to get. you know, and, you know, for me to understand that and just have humility about that, but to have, you know, basically our farm system here to be able to do that and have those live reps with those guys and, you know, not feel a way about going down there, you know, it's, you know, it was pretty easy for me just because of my, you know, how I feel about the game, how I could give back to the game. I could, hopefully the time that I spent with these guys the last couple of days, that they learned something from me, I learned something from them, and I think it was just super cool, super dope.
It makes me think about, like, it feels like there was a lot more one-on-one 15, 20, 25 years ago after practice. Do you think that's a fair statement?
No, that's a very fair statement.
Do you think that's because the social media era? Like these kids, they come in the league, like almost everything they do has been put on camera. Do you think like that's a part of it? Was it in our day, you could go play one-on-one, you could get your head kicked in every day all year and no one's ever going to know about it?
No one's ever going to see it, you know? Yeah, because, I mean, now you got to think that as soon as practice is over, you know, especially in our league, that the door's open and now the media's in there. And every media person has a camera. They all have phones that can record. It leaves it to the interpretation and to the narrative of, you know, obviously people that, some of them, they really don't matter what they say, but a lot of the young guys, they play video games and then they read columns and they read comments, unfortunately, you know? So, you know, they don't want to feel embarrassed or someone says something about them, and, you know, the more stuff that you read that's negative, the more it creeps into your mind and you don't know what it could do to a young player. So, you know, it's a lot less of that. It's just more like individual shooting now, you know, getting shots up after practice, you know, you know, what coaches or whatever the case may be. Not much one-on-one, you know, activity going on.
Yeah, it's a good point about the camera phone, because I think like back in the day, we'd still have media come down to practice and there'd be like 2, 3, 4 cameramen, you know what I mean? They're not, and they might get a clip of one-on-one, but they're not out there like, let me get this. Whereas someone with a phone, like zooming in, getting this game, and can turn that narrative into anything they want.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, social media has a lot of good, it has a lot of bad, and that's one thing I hate for our young players. Like that they have to avoid competition sometimes because they're not sure like who's filming. And anyways, I just wish our kids could like, because what a tool, like, to get beat every day by somebody and try to chase them down over the course of a season.
For
right?
sure.
Like I come in the league, you play a vet, and it's like, maybe I play a vet who's 6'8", and he's a starter, and you're a young guy trying to apply your trade, and he can bully you, but you have to figure stuff out, right? And like having that journey with that guy over the course of a year or more is super valuable to like, you know, your indoctrination into this game. And so kind of a bummer for me that that's not so much a part of the culture because of technology.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, I got an opportunity last summer being on an Olympic team to watch a lot of our guys play ones. You know, I watched KD and Book and Ant, you know, play ones. And, you know, there's one practice where literally Steph just went out there and just played all defense. You know, he was guarding KD, who hates to say he's 7 foot tall, but sorry, KD, you are a footer. and Steph was just out there just guarding the whole time. It didn't matter who it was. He didn't want to play offense. He just was guarding. I thought that was just super cool to witness that. And you know, the greatest players in the world. That was super cool. And it was cameras in there, obviously, you know, and nobody felt the way. Yeah, right. Nobody felt the way.
That's cool. Very cool. Well, shifting gears, how do you feel about fitting back into this Lakers offense and what you've seen so far?
I mean, it goes without saying. I'm a Swiss Army knife, so if that's spotting up, you know, waiting for getting the ball from Luka or AR, if that's setting pick and rolls in transition, if that's slipping pick and rolls in transition, if that's, you know, if we want to slow the game down in the half court, we want to get some post-up action and be able to create triggers, whatever the case may be. You know, I think, you know, what JJ and the coaches have done, you know, so far, we're playing exceptional basketball with so many injuries so far. Obviously, me being, one of the injuries that we had, but whatever demographic, however the pie, you know, shapes itself on offensively, how we want to play and how they want me to implement myself into the role of the team. Listen, all I care about is winning. I've done everything in my career, and including winning. And I want to continue that. So I will very easily just fit myself right on in whatever capacity the team needs me to be in.
That's the beauty of your game and your longevity. You can be on the ball, off the ball, in the post, pick and roll, the screener, the handler, the cutter. Like, with your IQ, you know how to play off it. A lot of guys who are primary ball handlers have a hard time playing off the ball. You're able to use your feel and IQ off the ball to be a cutter.
Listen, when you got a great,
obviously.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but when you got a great point guard like Luka, who creates so many eyes around him, you know, one of the best things I can do is, you know, slash in from that 45 degree, you know, or, you know, waiting, you know, if a guy is tagging high on DA or tagging high on Jackson, you know, to be able to roam behind the defense, you know, and catch lobs behind the defense, or just spotting up and just getting ready to shoot. I've worked a lot on my shooting when I wasn't allowed to do a lot of physical, you know, pounding and running and jumping and things of that nature. So I worked on a lot of that too. So, you know, just being, you know, having that growth mindset throughout my career to whatever position I would ever be able to be put in, you know, no matter if it's Olympic team or Lakers or Heat or Cavs or whatever, to be dynamic. You know, how can I always be a threat on the floor with or without the ball? And that's something I've kind of prided myself over.
That's great. What have you liked? What have you seen? You got new additions, Ayton, Marcus Smart, LaRavia. What have you seen? How do they fit? Any wrinkles, things you've liked?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we can sit here and talk about how unbelievable Luka and AR has been so far. Not surprised me. Those guys are just super ultra talented. Right. What they bring to the game, we already know. But what I love is what DA and Jake and Marcus have brought to the team. You know, another level of toughness, another level of playmaking. You know, the other night, you know, Marcus having 7 steals in a game. You know, DA been dominant on the glass and being a very efficient offensively, and also, you know, one of the, I think, before last night's game, I think he was in the top 10 in like defensive percentages. You know, contested at the rim. You know, and Jake, who is number 12 is what they were saying. I think in the Minnesota game, Ant, the crowd was like, who is number 12? And Ant was like, I don't know. And I mean, guys know him now, you know, and you know, I'm just proud of what the team has been doing, man, and being able to watch from afar, just like it's great. I think we have something really good going, and it's a long season. Obviously, we want to continue to play good basketball, and that's the most important. But I like the pieces that we added.
And what about Bronny? It looks like he's made a jump. He feels more comfortable, getting a little more opportunity and taking it. How's that been?
No, it's been great. You know, not only as a father, but just as a you know a student of the game, to see someone kind of use what he was able to do last year in the G League. You know, use that, get more comfortable, then go into summer league and be even more comfortable. And when his time has been called this year, just continue to feel good about it. I think, you know, for a young player, the more and more time that you get, the better, you know, you get, the more and more of the nuances you get better with the speed, you get better with the strength, you get better with everything. And I think, you know, in those games where Luka was out or AR was out or Marcus was out, you know, I think we had back-to-back games, a home game. I forgot who we played at home, and then we had a back-to-back game in Portland. I was just super proud of him, of the maturation process of him being to not only play well at home and then have a back-to-back in a tough environment in Portland and then do it again. That's what the NBA is all about. Not only what have you done for me lately? Can you do a back-to-back? So that was pretty cool.
How do you walk that line between father and leader? Like, it's your job to lead the basketball team, be a mentor to all these guys, and at the same time, your dad. Like, how? I mean, I'm fascinated by that.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's definitely, like you said, it is a fine line. But, you know, when we're in practice and in games and things of that nature, you know, it's the leadership. It's, you know, me being, I'm one of the guys. I'm one of the leaders of the team. But we have our side time where I can, you know, tell him about what I've seen, what I saw, whatever. But I just want him to, you know, he has to walk his own journey, you know, and I can give him, you know, the blueprint and I can give him some of the things that I've seen, but I want him to walk through the fire as well, you know, and I think it's going to be the best, you know, teacher for him to be able to go through these experiences and come out, you know, the best way he knows how. So, I mean, he loves the game and that's what's most important, and he loves to work, you know, and there's no substitution for hard work. So, you know, that's what it comes down to.
It's beautiful. It's great. Amazing to watch this kind of journey and this this happened.
Yeah,
Like, it's
for
just
sure.
Super cool.
Yeah, super cool.
And he's got a lot of eyeballs on him, a lot of eyeballs, a lot of critics.
Yeah,
and
for
just
sure.
the class and the humility, the way he works, like always rooting for him. So it's fantastic.
I appreciate that.
Tell me, what can you? Yeah, of course. What can you tell me about JJ's culture? Like what him and the coach are trying to build? Because it's cool sometimes watching like just some of like the sideline stuff, the team. Like I get a feeling like while JJ is a passionate, coach on the sideline. He gets, he goes off sometimes. We all know how much he loves the game and how thoughtful he is around it. But like, what's it like culturally? What are the like tools and give us a little insight on what he's building there.
Yeah, I think with listen, I mean, when you look at JJ's career as a basketball player, all the way from high school, he's been a winner his whole life, and he's been taught the game the right way, and it's been no sugarcoating with the coaches that's put him in the position that he is in today, And I had an opportunity to play for Coach K a couple times, and Coach K, there's no sugarcoating. He's going to tell you exactly how he feels if you're not doing it right, but it's going to be in a very stern but loving way. Like it's nothing. It's not how he says it. It's about how you accept it, And if you take what he says, or how he says it personal, then you're going to lose sight of the messaging, And I think with JJ, he's kind of the same way. He's right to the point, no sugarcoating it. Listen, this is how we want to play. This is how we want to play. And if I'm seeing possessions or I'm seeing things not up to our standard and what the coaching staff is putting out there, I'm going to show you my reaction. And it's not to down you. It's about you to understand what we're trying to build long term. And I can respect that. I mean, I love that. I come from, the old school, guy and Keith Danbrot, who was my first high school coach, who, like if you was doing the 3-man weave wrong, he'd kick your ass out of practice. Like, and then you get ready for tomorrow, or he invites you back in and talk you through why or whatever. And I've learned that, that way of kind of like understanding not how they say it is how you receive it. So, JJ is and his coaching staff, they give us the answers to the test, and we just got to go out there and execute it, and that's what it's all about.
That's great. That honesty, it helps build clarity, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We often you often you have a game plan, and the game plan's not always going to work.
Right.
But what's not going to work is trying to leave the game plan, but without trying to make the game plan work.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a line there as a player from like we have an obligation to try to make this work rather than this isn't going to work.
Right, exactly.
So I think you're building that culture of like no excuses. We'll tell you how it is. There's a clarity. This is how we're moving forward. Definitely helps a team build principles and habits that are going to make you guys a strong team.
Yep, exactly.
Thank you to our partner, Alexa Plus. In basketball, the best plays happen when everything flows naturally. That's exactly what I love about the all-new Alexa Plus, your smart, proactive AI assistant. Chatting with Alexa Plus is as easy as talking to a teammate. You can flow effortlessly between topics, from checking your schedule to ordering groceries. It's like having a personal assistant that anticipates your every move. What really impresses me is how it puts thousands of services to work for you. Whether I'm controlling my smart home, planning my day, or finding the perfect restaurant, Alexa Plus handles it all. The best part? It learns your preferences, creating a personalized experience that's tailored just for you. And it's always ready when you need it, across Echo devices, Fire TV, or any compatible tech in your lineup. Want to see how Alexa Plus can change your game? Learn more at Amazon.com/new Alexa. After 18 seasons of NBA travel spanning from Vancouver to Phoenix to Los Angeles, I know the importance of arriving ready to perform. That's why I'm excited about Emirates Premium Economy, which brings a whole new level of comfort to international travel. Those cramped airplane seats? The wider leather seats in Premium Economy are the total opposite. They come with leg rests that support your entire leg, not just your feet. For someone who's dealt with back issues, the extra recline and ergonomic design make a real difference on those long-haul flights. As a 6'3" guy, I may not be the tallest in the locker room, but on a flight, Sometimes that little extra space makes all the difference in getting out in one piece. When I first started traveling in the NBA, I thought the travel was exceptional, but things have evolved. And with Emirates, I'm not sure where they can go from here. The ergonomic seats, the space, the service, it all makes for an incredible travel experience. I can't get over how they handle meals up here. Real plates, actual metal silverware, and they're pouring sparkling wine like it's nothing. The entertainment screen is huge, and get this, being up front means you're not stuck waiting forever to get off the plane. Transform your next international journey with Emirates Premium Economy. Trust me, it's the MVP of travel experiences. Book your elevated experience at emirates.com/US. Can I just take a moment to talk about Nikola Jokic making a joke out of the NBA every night?
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. I was literally just talking to my good friend Jared Dudley right before we jumped on here. I was just like, this guy is ridiculous. He was like, yeah, he's ridiculous. You know, he's been in Dallas the last few years, and you know, been around some great players, obviously, but this goddamn Joker guy, man, he's shooting like, did they say in like the last 5 or 6 games, he's shooting like 77% from the field?
Yeah, I mean, this season in 3 weeks, I think he's at 67% from the field. Oh my God. And by the way, and this is not like one of those guys back in the day, like all dunks, you know, or all layups. No, this is everything. All three levels. All three levels. Wow. Yeah, it's remarkable how he makes the game. Let me ask you this: is he the best offensive player you've ever played against?
Wow, that's a tough question right there, Steve. Oh my God.
When you think about the totality of what he does, the pressure he puts on the defense, the assists, the playmaking, the initiating the offense, the threes, the mid-range, the putting people in the basket, like it's a lot of stuff.
No, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. I will say this: there has not been a more dominant, complete player that I've played against in a sense of all the attributes that you just mentioned, from the passing to the shooting to the rebounding to the attention. I mean, there's nothing he cannot do on the offensive end, like nothing at all. Nothing. You know, you try to double him, he's gonna make you pay. You try to play him single coverage, he's gonna make you pay. You sometimes he even brings the ball up the floor. They outlet the ball to him. I don't know off the top of my head. There's been a couple, but guys that a point guard will rebound the ball and outlet it to their center to push the break.
Right. You're right. Yeah.
That's weird in a sense. That's already weird. Like that lets you know how amazing this guy is.
Yeah, I'm sure it's happened, but not like the point guard to the center.
Right.
Like happy for you to take it up, you initiate, you to make plays.
Right.
I mean, we know he makes every pass in the book, but he's basically a 3-to-1 assist to turnover guy, which is outrageous with his usage. There's some crazy numbers. The first 3 weeks of the season, their offensive rating when he's on the court is almost 1.30. So league average is 1.15, sorry, 1.16, 1.29 something, right? Like it's crazy. So, and then in this short season, he's got a 28 differential when he's on the court. So plus 22 per 100 possessions when he's on the court, minus 6 per 100 when he's off the court, a differential of 28. Like, I think you crept over 15 on a 5-year period, which is like the third highest all time. I think him and Steph had a 5-year period at 18 differential. Like these are like there's almost no one in the game's ever done these things, and let alone I know it's only 3 weeks, but that 28 differential, 1.3 almost. I mean, offensive rating, like this guy.
I know we know it's only 3 weeks, but 3 weeks is a lot of basketball. Like we're not talking 3 games. We're not talking 3 and 4 nights, or we're talking 3 weeks of just complete flawless dominance. That no matter if that's 3 weeks or not, and it's not a big part of this. That's a lot of games, and that's a lot of great basketball. Like stuff like you just said we haven't seen before.
Yeah, it's crazy. It just looks too easy.
And he's so damn good that he's so good that people barely talk about it.
Right.
It's like, well, you know, like it's just normal. Like it's normal. This shit is not normal. It's not normal what he's doing, guys. I'm sorry. It's not normal.
Yeah, and it's not. It's. I mean, honestly, I said he's making a joke of the best league in the world. I mean, it's like he's mastered the puzzle. Do you think a part of it is because he's not the fastest, he's not flying into dunks? It's kind of like everyone's kind of got this little bit of a distance from his actual brilliance or the critical mass. Like, I could watch him all day long, but I wonder if like he doesn't lead every segment on your morning shows just because he didn't jump over anyone and dunk. I don't know, but like if you watch him play in person especially, but if you really watch on any format, he's kind of mastering the game of basketball before our eyes.
Yeah, you said it. And I mean, as a true basketball fan, as a true, you know, I love the game and everything that comes with it. I mean, and if people sit here and say they love the game and they love watching greatness, then
tune in
to a Nuggets game. And if you didn't tune in last night, you know, with him versus the Clippers, you missed the dandy.
Clippers decided to stay at home, not double him. He had, what do you have, 55, I think, something like that. He still had 6 assists. I mean, it's torture chamber if you don't come and help or you don't double. Like he doesn't miss. If you play off him, he shoots. You play too tight, he finds a way to get to your body. He takes you to the basket. I mean, it's just a total clinic. Unbelievable to watch. So
yeah,
tune in.
Clinic. Yep,
tune in before it's too late.
right.
Well, the Joker, right? Like, it's crazy. The American Express Platinum Card is now better than ever, with updated benefits to help you unlock unforgettable experiences. You can access the largest global airport lounge network and global hotel program with a suite of benefits as compared to other credit card programs. Plus, with the dining benefits at over 10,000 US Resi restaurants and exclusive access to unique experiences worldwide, Platinum membership means you can turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. There's nothing like landing a table at one of the hottest restaurants, and when you enroll with Amex Platinum, you get up to $100 back each quarter on eligible Resi purchases at participating Resi restaurants. It's actually changed how I dine out completely. Instead of playing it safe with my usual filet mignon, I'll go for something more adventurous, like Japanese tasting menus or Mediterranean food. Those credits make trying new things feel effortless. And honestly, some of my favorite dining experiences lately have come from just saying yes to whatever the chef recommends. When you're getting those credits back each quarter, you can really lean into the full experience, from appetizers straight through to dessert. With an array of premium travel, dining, and entertainment benefits, all backed by American Express's award-winning service, Platinum membership brings experiences to a whole new level. It's true what they say, there's nothing like Platinum. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/withplatinum. Now a word from our director Jason from one of our sponsors, DraftKings.
Thanks to DraftKings for sponsoring the show. We've teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook to bring you that electric feeling when the game hangs in the balance. They make every possession count by letting you bet live on player props and games as they unfold right in front of you. And right now, new customers can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code MIND to bet just $5 to get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Plus, 3 months of NBA League Pass, complimentary of DraftKings. When a player drives to the basket or pulls up from 3 or does a little Nash dribble around the baseline, you're not just watching the game anymore. You feel like you're in the game. Potentially moments away from a huge win, and that's the DraftKings difference. I can tell you from personal experience. Watching the Magic play the Nets last Friday, yeah, there's just a difference when you feel like you're personally invested in the game like I was. So shout out DraftKings for that. And if you're not in a state with legal sports betting, no problem. Jump into DraftKings Pick 6 for your chance at cash prizes. New customers download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code MIND to bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Plus, 3 months of NBA League Pass complimentary of DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Our main segment today is about experimentation in basketball. And let's take a look at this Miami Heat offense.
Yeah.
You know, we have to give some nods historically. One to Memphis last year, who ran this screenless offense. You know, Memphis last year was setting 42 screens per 100 possessions. Miami is only setting 17. I mean, 42 was by far the lowest. 17 is exceptionally low for amount of screens in a league that is pick and roll heavy, right? Like almost every possession has a pick and roll or a DHO, which we consider a screen. So it's fascinating. So for some context, you know, this offense started at St. Joseph's of Maine, a D3 school, where the coach had got a former player to, you know, give him some advice. And I think with the seeds from the old read and react offense and some things that they had spoken about and put together, they created this offense where basically a player drives the ball. If they drive the ball right, everyone shifts and cuts right. So if you drive the ball to the right side of the lane and there's two guys on the right side, the corner guy cuts the baseline and the high quad guy slides down to the corner, which in itself is I think, great movement because the help can get comfortable. So you move the help, you ask questions, and when a guy drives, everyone's first inclination is to move towards the ball and support, if not with their feet, with their eyes. So if guys are relocating behind you and asking the help questions, you know, that can become very difficult for a defense. The second part of that is take the other side. When that guy drives right and the guy on the left side comes in behind him, his defender's first reaction is try to sink and help the helper. But that guy's filling in way behind him. So you're kind of putting the defense in these really difficult positions. But the number one thing I think Miami's doing that's interesting is playing quicker. In the league, analytically, your points per possession league-wide go down every 6 seconds on the clock. So they're the highest in the first 6 seconds. Before the defense is settled, that's the cornerstone of the pace and space era. And then every 6 seconds, it goes down again. So Miami's trying to play quick. They're trying to get to their first action as quick as possible. And by doing so, they're creating a funnel. So the guy comes down, they're keeping the elbows wide open, and he's got the first opportunity to attack a defender who's retreating and help that's running back, and just to go one-on-one without a screen. What are your early thoughts on? You faced Memphis last year. You've seen Miami, I'm sure, a little bit this year.
Yeah.
What are your
like you just said,
experimentation?
we faced Memphis, and we faced it a lot. Obviously, not only in the regular season, but we played them in the postseason when they was kind of doing this type of action, and it takes a while for you to kind of get adjusted to it. And right now with Miami doing it, and we've played Miami this year, and I got to see it firsthand of how fast that they're playing and the pick and roll list, style of basketball that they're playing. You know, to try to scout that for one game, you know, or they come into your building, you got one game to scout for, maybe not even a full day. You got to scout for. It's hard to catch up to. You know, it's hard to catch up to, and I think it's working in their favor. I think without Tyler Hero, who is a very good pick and roll player, they've kind of switched off of it, and allowed now kind of just more freedom of movement, freedom of get off the ball. If you don't have it, drive, get everything, the wheel, kind of call it the wheel, to get to this wheel action, and yes, and I think that Bam has had a couple games this year. I know he's injured right now while we're right now at the point of us taping this. But he's had a few games where he's had multiple three-pointers made, and that is helping him as well. They don't have to have anybody in the paint. And when you have a lob threat like the kid Ware, you got those guys. You got Jaime Jaquez, who's very fast with the ball. Wiggins very good downhill. Davion Mitchell very good downhill. Norman Powell very good downhill. It fits their demographic. It fits their personnel. And that's why Spo literally is one of the greatest coaches, will be one of the greatest coaches ever, because he can continue to have growth mindset and continue to change offensive things to fit his scheme and fit his personnel. And they've been playing good ball to start this first 3 weeks off. Yeah,
mentioning Bam, I think he's doubled his three-point attempts from like 3 to 6, so he's stretching the floor more, just catching and shooting, which adds a new dimension to them having a stretch 5 or a stretch 4 on the floor. But I think it's also cool how they play with quick decisions. because here's the thing, if a guy comes down full court and you have the funnel where a guy can attack that elbow in a full court situation, you have to come in and support. So then one pass goes, you've created like a small closeout, and then the next guy's downhill, right? Then the wheel moves, okay? So if you want to load up on that first action, you're opening up the second one. So I think for Spo, it's probably interesting. He probably thought, with or without Hero, like we maybe don't have a lot of pick and roll creators, guys that are going to make slick passes to the guy rolling or out of a show or whatever it is.
Correct.
So how can I open things up? First thing is by playing fast. Second thing is then let's move the help. Let's play early. Let's see how much people come off. If not, guys like Jaime Jaquez is cooking people. He's getting downhill. He's creating. He's making plays, and that's the first domino. Now teams are in blender, as we talk about. I think it's interesting how they use the slot cut. So, or if two are stacked on one side and the ball's moving, that first guy cuts, that makes the bottom defender just pause for a second on the cut. The guy slides out of the corner. Now they've created another small closeout, right? So you're asking guys that maybe aren't the slickest pick and roll players, they're NBA players. They can either shoot the three or attack this guy that's trying to close that separation. Now he's in the guts, and the wheel starts again.
Yep.
So to your point, brilliant of Spo to look at his roster, look at his team, and say, how can we score more points? How can we be more efficient? And so far, he's nailed it.
Yeah, he's nailed it.
You played against Memphis. What was the game plan? What would you have success with trying to slow that down?
Well, obviously, when you play in Memphis, the number one thing is the point of attack, and that's getting back and getting loaded to Ja. You allow Ja to play in the paint and break down your defense. It's going to be a long night. So the point of attack it's always been Ja, and then finding Jaren Jackson Jr. In trail spots, because he loves to shoot the trail three, and play off the closeout game, when you're not in position. So, they did a good job with that wheel action on keeping you off balance. Obviously, Desmond Bane has moved on to Orlando, but he was there as well, and it created a lot of stress on your defense because of his ability to shoot the ball as well, and he was really good, being a downhill right-hand driver as well. So you just try to get a feel, especially in the playoff series. That's the best thing about a playoff series. If you've built something all year, you can't change. You can't just all of a sudden just scrap your whole offense and your demographic and things of that nature. So, you do get an opportunity to kind of find a rhythm to it. Doesn't mean it's easy to guard because it's not, but you get a little rhythm to it and you're able to make some adjustments on, how can we, set up a points per possession or, being, 1.1, how do we get it down to 9 point, it's a 0.95, how do we continue to crack down on it where now it's, game 3, now it's, 0.90 instead of 1.3 what it was game 1, so, you're just always trying to find nuances defensively on how you can, get better with it.
Interesting to see if Spo puts Hero in pick and rolls when he comes back. He's obviously a gifted pick and roll scorer. At the same time, I could see him be amazing. If he's the first pass on either side of this guy coming down the funnel and you got to close out to him, that's dead meat, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see, is it just set plays? Is it just dead balls when they get to pick and roll, or do they add that element back in?
Yeah.
Because right now, they're scoring the ball at a huge rate.
Yeah, and if they're scoring the ball at a huge rate, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. With Tyler Hero's ability to shoot the ball, his ability to play off closeouts, his ability to handle the ball, I don't see him not being able to fit into exactly what they're already doing. And, Spo is smart enough and the coach staff is smart enough to know if there's ATOs, dead ball situations, and he wants to get to a little rub action with him and Bam and create that 2-on-1 because Bam's very good in the 2-on-1 game, he can always get to that. That's something he knows he has in his back pocket. But let's continue to build this, let's build this system of how we want to play, and then we can have this in the back pocket if we need it.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see. I love experimentation. I love people that try new things or adapt. Some of these great coaches have adapted their teams over the course of their career. Pop did it, Spo's doing it and done it. Why do you think there's not more experimentation in the NBA?
Because our league is a copycat league, Steve. You know that. Our league is a.
I was just waiting for it.
Our league is a copycat league, man. It's like, almost I treat our league exactly at the dinner table with all your friends and family. In order for everybody to leave and go home, it's always got to be one person that got to stand up first. And that's what our league is. Our league is a copycat league. It's a copycat league, and that's why so many people are afraid to do certain different things. And then they see somebody do it, and then it works. They're like, "Oh, let us try that." So that's always been our league. Right. That's been our league forever.
Yeah, and unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but usually it's like a really good team tries something.
Right.
It works because they're a really good team.
Oh yeah.
And everyone else, I mean, I remember back in the day, like late '90s, everyone trying the triangle.
Yeah.
The board running triangle, and it's like, well, it's
Yeah.
They do have MJ, Pippen, Dennis. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah. Same with the Shaq, Kobe, Lakers. Yeah. Like it's not as easy to replicate.
No, this ain't for everybody.
But it does. Right. You can't just trot them out there. And anyways, it was obviously failed experiments across the league trying to be like the Lakers. But it is like it is interesting because what is a copycat league? Like, I mean, an element of that has to be job security. Like maybe coaches are fearful if I try something wild and it doesn't work, that could be the end of my job. Like groupthink, like you said, everyone knows each other, everyone sees everyone, watches everything they do. There's a comfort in relating to what everyone does instead of going against it. One of the other factors I think is that we play, and this goes in and out of experimentation. This also is just for like everyone in the league. You play 80 to 100 games in our league. You build habits. Mm-hmm. You build habits in a way of playing. So I think it's a stretch. You don't have a lot of time. Like we've talked about this before. Once the season starts, you got 4 or 5 days of camp and you're playing an exhibition game and you got a performance team saying like, hey, we can't really practice much. And so for a coach to then say like, I'm gonna have my star player have to build new habits that are outside of what they're used to doing, that takes guts. Like, that's my bread and butter right there. So changing things extremely, I think that's another thing that prevents people from trying new things. I just think that there is still ways that we could experiment in our league, but it's difficult. Would you agree with that?
No, absolutely, 1,000%. And like you said, coaches come in, and especially if it's their first job or they're just getting another job, they have their system. They've been talking with the coaches, about, the system, or if they haven't even hired their assistants or whatever the case may be, but they have a system they want to put in place, both offensively and defensively. And, like you said, it takes guts to be able to just change it completely, but it also takes security. With a guy like Spo, he's secure. He's good. He's not worried about, if he doesn't win this year, then, somebody's looking over his job. You look at Pop, and Pop was doing what he's
going in the Hall of Fame.
Right. Pop didn't have, anybody looking down on him or wondering if this doesn't work with Timmy D, or now Tony's here. If it doesn't work, we got to go look for somebody else. No, never was the case. So, it definitely helps when you have great job security. Before we finish, we got one question on here, and a guy by the name on X, his name is Tricky Leg 234. I'm not gonna ask him how the hell he
Tricky Leg.
Don't know how the hell he came up with that name, but okay. He asks, what is the best way to get the game to slow down for me when I have the ball? I always feel rushed and sped up when I get it. I'm gonna let you take that, Steve.
All right. Well, I'm gonna definitely want to hear your thoughts on that, because my initial answer is it takes time.
Yep.
It takes time. Like the game, the more you play, the more reps, the more scenarios you see, the more it slows down. But what can you do to speed that up? I think to increase that development, like first of all, skill development. So how great is your handle, right? If your handle's better, your vision's gonna be better. How great is your physicality, fitness, quickness, sharp acceleration, deceleration? If you're on balance all the time, a lot harder to get sped up. If you're not sped up, your eyes aren't sped up. So I think there are things you can control, but I think one thing that I would say for a player, other than stick with it, it takes time, is try to be really conscious, whether it's on the floor, in practice, in film sessions, like really be conscious of the positions you get in. Because there's only so many positions and things that happen in a game of basketball, especially considering each of our games predicates on where those spots on the floor and what those scenarios are. So being aware when you're watching film, when you're practicing, where do I suffer and why? How can I get ahead of that? How can I have better recognition in those scenarios? Breaking it down in practice, getting little 2 and 3 man games going in some of those scenarios can help too, before or after practice, even with coaches. But look, there's a lot of things you can do that might help you in little ways, but you have to stick with it, because I think time is the greatest teacher in that respect. What do you think?
I could piggyback everything that you just said, Steve. I think, time, and also, actually putting yourself in those situations, either like you said, if it's 5-on-5, 4-on-4, 3-on-3, 2-on-2, and then skill development. Just continue to, if it's something that you're uncomfortable with, develop those skills. You got to put that work in to where you feel more and more comfortable. If it's you handling the ball, pick and rolls, and you get sped up because, a lot of teams may blitz you and you don't know how to handle the blitz, or, or guys picking you up full court and you don't quite know how to, handle that type of ball pressure. So, it's about skill development. It's also about just letting the game continue to grow as you grow. And then, like you said, it takes time. It takes time of actually being in those situations, understanding those situations, failing in those situations, which is okay. We all fail. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's not about the failure point to how do you come back from that? How do you come back? How do you take that adversity? So, tricky leg 2, 3, 4. That's
tricky leg.
That's our advice we can give you, champ. We hope you be great.
And the last thing for tricky leg is simplify.
Yep.
When you're overwhelmed, when you're sped up, simplify. Like 1-2 reads, 1-2 concepts. Like that's so important, I think, for you to be able to slow down and just focus on 1-2 things that maybe give you a chance at the start of a situation. So lots of work to do. Lots of young players go through that. Unless your name's LeBron James, Nikola Jokic. It's always a tough part at some level.
Yeah, sped up. A tricky leg. Listen to some Sade. That'll help too. No matter how old you are, young you are, listen to some Sade. That'll slow you down too.
He's probably like, who?
He's like, who? Sade. Yeah, Sade. Ask your parents.
Thanks for watching Mind the Game. New episodes drop every other Tuesday. Remember to like, subscribe, or follow wherever you're watching.